We all have a different set of circumstances that we're here to deal with, that however we feel about it, we're going to deal with. The power we hold is how we react to what's going on inside of us and outside of us. Most of our pain, if not all of our pain, is caused by our thoughts. Our thoughts are reacting to these conditions and telling us a story around the situation, increasing the magnitude of it in our emotional body, throwing us in these loops that never end, these thoughts that never stop. And we become the victim of our own thoughts. We become a slave to our thoughts. But our thoughts are nothing. Our thoughts are not real. There is no future but the one we are creating with our thoughts right now. And our thoughts right now are based on what we've been thinking. And so we get these things moving in a certain direction that we can't stop. And it's going to take a real waking up to say, I'm doing this to myself. Yes, I don't want this the way that it is right now as it is. And yes, I don't like feeling helpless to change the situation, but I'm not making it better by banging my head against the wall, metaphorically speaking. When we can get some distance from our thoughts and realize we are not our thoughts, this is the number one main problem of our lives, is that whatever we're going through, it is our thoughts that are causing us pain. It is our resistance to what we're going through that's causing us pain, not the pain itself. It's the suffering that is the problem, and the suffering is caused by our thoughts. And you may not want to hear this, but I can't change your circumstances and you can't change mine. I can only tell you that I've had a very difficult life from the moment I was born, and it hasn't gotten easier, but what has gotten easier is I'm learning and changing to adapt to my circumstances in a way where I don't let the feeling of I don't want this to control me. And this is a way we learn to master ourselves, because the thing we only can control is that. We cannot control this, because this is this, ultimately. So we're born into these bodies to face these certain karmic conditions that we have accumulated or that we have generated by our thoughts from the past lives, earlier in this life, and everything's catching up energetically to us. We have created this. Like, there is no future but the one we are creating right now. But because all this past behavior is catching up to us, we keep moving in the same direction, recreating the same situations with a chance to do them differently, but because of the ruts in our habits, we don't do them differently. And so it's like the same relationship even though it's a different person, the same job even though it's a different place, the same everything over and over again, but we thought we changed it, but we left, but we went, but it's still the same because it's us. And you know this, and this is just a reminder, because it is the number one problem. I can talk about so many things, but what will really help, in my opinion, it is the hardest thing to do because it is the easiest and nobody wants to hear it, is that we have to get a handle on what's going on when we don't even know we're listening to it. It's playing in the back of our head, like when you go to a store or a doctor's office or anywhere and there's music in the background and you don't really know you heard the song, and then later on you're like, why am I singing this song? Because you picked up on the song. The song's playing, and your subconscious mind is now singing the song to you. So when we're having these thoughts and kind of always going on, we're not aware we're thinking them, and they make us who we are, and they're creating our life and our relationships, and we're feeling really bad or upset or wondering, am I cursed? What's wrong with me? Why can't I change this condition? And it is because we are creating it. We are all powerful creators of our own lives. That's why we are here. We are not these bodies. We are not these minds. But there is the power behind them that is giving them life that we are then living. And this is our chance to do it differently while we have this human body and this life, to see the power that we have on what we're creating and generating, and to change it. Or at least, and at most, for the best, to accept what we're trying to get away from. So while we're doing all these things and while we're running from these thoughts as we're generating them, paradoxically speaking, we're also doing it to avoid facing certain things a lot of the time. We think this thing will get us out of this bad feeling we're trying to get away from. And so this thing we think we need, our thoughts are like pushing us to get it. And then Either we get it or we don't, but in the end, we're never able to actually use it to get away from what we're trying to escape within ourselves, which are those feelings that we're afraid to be with. So, to be with, I hate myself if you think that, or I'm so mad, or whatever. To be with it, rather than to try to get away from it. Trying to get away from it, the resistance is the pain. There's nothing bad about hating yourself when you get rid of the story of why and just feel the raw feeling, because all feelings will merge into the light when we're just able to be with them. It is when we run from things that we create these demons that we fear that become so big that we're using other things and addictions and all sorts of obsessive behavior, neurotic behavior to get away from. When the truth is, all we needed to do was be with ourselves. And it can be the hardest thing because some of these things are lodged very deep and we've been running for a very long time. But they will catch up because they need to catch up. So self-love and union with the divine, and I don't mean religion, but with the divinity of what we actually are when we aren't in these bodies, our eternal natures are all inclusive. And yet we feel that certain things are bad and good, whether we're aware of it or not, and certain parts of ourselves are acceptable and unacceptable, that we are trying so hard to use certain things to get away from other things, to control this, and we're so busy in using our life force to try to manage something that we cannot manage. So that need to control that we feel is for our survival is actually slowly weighing us down and killing us and turning us into gray zombies. Gray and fearful zombies. And then what do? We watch the news. We get worried about the conditions of the world, and it's just too much. And so to care for yourself, you have to understand when it just gets to be too much. It's too much running. It's too much fear. It's too much resistance. And it takes so much energy. And the reason why we're afraid or we resist is because that means death. To our ego, it means death. To our mind, it means death. Our mind depends on us responding to it. And so it's never going to stop. But what we need to learn is that we are not that. It's like you have these people you know in your lives perhaps that never stop talking. After a while, you just need to tune them out. Ignore the thoughts. You can't stop them. But recognize that you're not thinking them. They aren't you. They're in your field of awareness for reasons it doesn't matter why. You don't need to feel bad about your thoughts. You don't need to pretend they aren't there. You don't need to go, oh my God, I just thought that. It's not you. And so when we recognize that and we just stop running and let whatever comes come, that is the power we have to generate peace and healing in our lives, so that when we do act out in this world, we can act decisively with our full energy and our full power and personal command, rather than just a fragmented part of ourselves still desperately trying to get, while we still secretly have this other part of ourselves that we are really trying to hide from even ourselves or others. And so to spend time in silence, naturally in silence, whatever that means to you, so that you're able to actually get a handle on hearing your thoughts, not just the second the thought comes, it's you, but to get that space between you and your thoughts is a helpful way. And I don't mean some formal thing that you have to do. I mean any way that works for you, where you can get some distance between yourself and what's going on in your mind. Because what's going on in your mind is the source of all your troubles. Whether you need to make a decision to do something in your life or to move on in your life, or whether you need to make a decision to not do something in your life. The more you can understand you aren't your thoughts, because you've got two different voices telling you two different things, the clearer you will become to be able to make the decisions you need to make and the choices you need to make. And this is how you can empower yourself and get out of these stuck places where we're paralyzed by the inability to be decisive or to know, and we shut down because we're being pulled in so many different directions. But at the heart of it all is our true one nature, the light in our heart, our true core power at the heart of it all, knows. And so when you silence the chattering, you know. And if the energy isn't there, don't act. Don't be pressured to act. And when the energy is there, act fearlessly and trust yourself. And that's all you need to do, because the universe will uplift and support you when you trust yourself. And when we don't live in fear, and when we aren't the prey of something chasing us, a feeling, a thought, an idea about ourselves, then we can take full command of this life and make the most of it, which will benefit a lot more than just you, but all of your brothers and sisters on planet Earth.